guys, it's Jake here. It's Saturday and I'm going to go out on a service call to an existing customer's house. He contacted me Thursday evening. I had calls on Friday and it was kind of rainy and nasty out, but he said that his carrier heat pump wasn't heating. He had it set at 68, it was 62 inside and falling, and his neighbor said that his outdoor unit was had ice all over the top of it and sounded awful. I was there back in June, first time I'd ever been there, because he had high energy bills in the summer, and the outdoor unit was filthy. So I cleaned the outdoor unit and hooked up probes to the system and found that the refrigerant charge was low. So I added 2.5 pounds of R410A to the system and told him, hey, we need to do a leak search. All three of the caps outside on the outdoor heat pump were missing, and I let him know that, and he said that he wanted to hold off on the leak search. He was hopeful that where the caps weren't on it, that was his leak point. So I'm not sure if we're going to find this thing low on refrigerant or if it's got a defrost issue. I'm not really sure. It's a time temperature defrost. Those defrost thermostats can go bad, the boards can go bad. I don't really know, but I told him to put his heat pump into emergency heat. He has one of those fancier thermostats, and the thermostat was locking out his heat strips. He was only trying to run the heat pump, which is why the temperature in the house just kept falling. So he's got it in emergency heat. It's maintaining temperature yesterday and this morning. So we're going to go over and see if we can't figure out what's going on with this unit. It's a little chilly today. I think the high today is only going to be 42. So we'll see what happens. I'm not sure what I'll find. Okay, so this is the unit right here, and I just turned it off of emergency heat. Had to walk around the building, get into my van, grab my stuff, and come back here. So I got the heat pump running, and you can see we're already starting to frost up in bands. Well, I got hooked up to it while it was running here, and I just got done putting my probes on the return and the supply in there. Came back out here and just looked down in, and you can see we got, I'm not sure well you can see that, we got ice down on that coil still. Now this thing has been off since Thursday. It's Saturday, and we've been in the 40s, so maybe that's why we're getting kind of some banding here. I just had to pull the disconnect so I could get this on video and take a photo for the homeowner. All around that coil, so we might have a defrost issue here. I mean, them caps being off might have been the leak, I don't know. So I'm going to open this electrical panel up, and I'm going to let this thing run again here, and we'll see if it's defrosting. Okay, so here's the defrost board. Sorry, it's kind of loud. I'm sandwiched in between two units here. But we have time temperature defrost. It's set at 60 minutes of accumulated run time. This is our defrost thermostat. So I'm going to see if this is closed right now. Most of these are 35 degrees. So if the coil temperature is below 35, this should be closed. And then you can speed it up over here to test the defrost. If this isn't closed, we can put a jumper, pull this off and put a jumper on that, speed it up, and we test the board, and maybe it's only the defrost thermostat. I'm just going to do some testing here. Okay, so with the defrost thermostat closed, when I go to the speed up pin and short it out, this thing should speed up and initiate a defrost here. And it is not. So this one is doesn't appear to be a charge issue. I think the charge issue was where all them caps were off of it. I'd have to check it in cool mode to be 100% to dial it in, but looking at the coil temperature, things like that, looks pretty daggone close. You can be off by a little bit in heat mode, way more than if you're testing them in cooling. This thing should have already gone into defrost. Unfortunately, I don't have this board on my van. Yeah, this thing's not defrosting here. And she shot. Well, the unit is definitely not going into defrost. It's about 38 degrees outside right now. So we're running a 22-degree vapor saturation. That's pretty close to where I think we'd be. Inside, we're running a little higher indoor coil temperature liquid saturation than I would expect, being that it's, what, 64 degrees, but they definitely, I think, have some airflow issues here. I brought that up last time I was here. The old unit in this house, it's a 2-story home, had a R22 system in it, and before they bought this place, these people had paid for a change out, and they had left the old R22 plenum in place and set the new machine on top of the old plenum. So there's a blank off in the front and sides where the plenum is too small. So it definitely restricts some air. And we run a 25-degree split there. The heat strips aren't firing right now. 98-degree indoor coil temp. I would think that would be more along the lines around 95 degrees or so. Maybe a little under that because we're pulling in 65-degree return air at the bottom. Now, there is a return on the second floor, but my probe is on the downstairs return where the thermostat is, and my temperature probe for the supply is on one of the only vents I can reach, which is on the floor on the second level. They got cats in another room that are locked up. So it looks like we got a defrost issue here. Defrost thermostat is closed. Let me see if I can get that on there for you. It's hard to do this with one hand, but we'll give her our best shot. Okay, I am on this defrost thermostat right now, and it is closed. So when I short those speed up pins out, those test pins there, that thing should speed through that accumulated run timer and send it into defrost, but it's not. So I think that's what we got going here, is just you know, boards failed on this thing. I don't think this thing's very old. I want to say it's from like 2022. Yeah, it's from 2022. They're not the original owners of this place, but I would think it should still have a warranty on it, 5-year warranty. So I'll have to contact a carrier on Monday and see about getting them this board. I'm not sure what I'll edit in and out of this thing. I'm jabbering like normal, but if I would have had that, if let's say that defrost thermostat was not closed, I could have pulled that off and put a jumper over those pins. I normally just use a stake on. And then I could have put my screwdriver on the speed up test pins, and then that would have advanced the defrost board. And then if the defrost board would have sent the unit into defrost, I pulled the screwdriver off that speed up pin, and then that unit would have gone into defrost, and that means I had a failed defrost thermostat. But where this one, the defrost thermostat was closed, when I went to those speed up pins, that unit should have gone into a defrost, but it did not. No matter how long I held it on those speed up pins, I tried it multiple times, that unit would not go into defrost. That tells me that the defrost board has failed. When I first walked up to the unit after I turned it on, it'd been a few minutes after I walked around the building, got my stuff out of my van, I had some bands on it, and sometimes that's an indication that you have, you know, a charge issue. And when I didn't see the ice inside of it, or when I first went past it, it's really tight over there. You're sitting in between two units. There's a massive bush in the way. But once I looked down inside and saw all that ice, that could have been the reason I was getting that. Wasn't getting enough airflow through that coil. And my outdoor coil temperature, the vapor saturation, was a little low, and that's probably because I wasn't moving enough air through the thing. And then also the indoor coil temperature is a little high based on the indoor temperature. It's 70 degrees inside, which in there was about 64, 65 degrees. You know, if it's 70, I would expect to see about a 95-degree indoor coil temperature, 96 degrees, something like that. Where it was 60-something degrees, I would expect it to be just a hair lower, and I was running, I can't remember, like a 96, 97, or 98-degree coil temperature. And the way the ductwork on that is done, it was a slap job. It was an R22 system that someone just slid the air handler out and slapped the 410A air handler in its place. The front is blanked off and one of the sides is overhanging the plenum. The unit goes straight up into a hard 90 right above the unit, and then goes down in between the first and second floors. where it sends supply air on the first floor out the ceiling, and it sends second floor supply air out of vents on the floor. So the ductwork definitely isn't good in that. So I think that's why we're getting that little bit higher indoor coil temperature than what I was expecting to see. Just not necessarily moving a bunch of air. The blower is in high speed. I checked that, and there's really nothing I can do to throw more air at it. I did mention you could downgrade the filters. They're using those MERV 6, so not chokers, but they could go to like a fiberglass, double-sided fiberglass filter with a lower MERV rating and move a little more air through the system and maybe help that thing last a little bit longer. But I couldn't, you know, in heat mode, it's hard to tell. You could be off on your charge a little bit and not be able to tell. It's not like running it in cool mode where you know, with the TXV, you're checking subcooling, you can dial it in real close. Or if it's a piston, you're using superheat, and you can get your target superheat dialed in real close. But it's close enough that I don't think it's a charge issue on that one. I think that it's, you know, that board's just not defrosting, and, you know, that outdoor coil gets slammed with ice. And it would have been, that thing had been defrosting since Thursday. It had not been running, and it's Saturday, and it still had ice, and we've been above freezing for daytime temperatures in the low 40s. Yesterday it rained all day, and you would think that that ice on the inside would have been gone, especially with the rain, and it wasn't. So that thing must have been a flippin' snowman out there. But anyways, I hope this video helps somebody out. I know the guys have been in a long time, don't do anything, but I figured I'd jump in and say hi. I'd try to put out a few more videos and things like that. Really want to get back to the trade, guys, you know, that are starting out and stuff. And also, this is, you know, YouTube's a free advertising avenue for people to see me and say, you know, hey, this guy's not out here trying to rip people off. I try to be thorough. I try to be honest in my dealings with people, and you know, I try to offer fair pricing as well. So hope everybody's doing good. I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. You guys out there in the field, all the techs and contractors out there, you guys stay safe, man. Get home safe to your family. It's the most important thing you can do. Stay safe out there, get home to your families. You guys take care. Talk to everybody later.